We have all experienced the 3 a.m. burst of motivation. You watch a video, you look at your life, and you decide, tomorrow, everything changes. You are going to wake up at 5 a.m. You are going to learn how to code, hit the gym, read 50 pages, and build a side hustle. And for the first 3 days, you actually do it. You feel unstoppable. But then, Thursday rolls around. You're tired. You slept badly. You tell yourself, I'll just skip today and go twice as hard tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. 2 weeks later, you are right back where you started, feeling worse than before. In today's hyperfast era, we are obsessed with intensity. We love the idea of the overnight grind and the massive, superhuman effort. But here's a brutal truth that no one wants to admit. Intensity makes a good story, but consistency makes progress. The number one reason you are failing to reach your goals isn't a lack of talent, a lack of resources, or a lack of intelligence. It is simply a lack of consistency. Today, we are going to break down the consistency paradox. We'll look at exactly why our brains are wired to quit when things get boring, a real-life example of how we sabotage ourselves, and the 3 rules you need to build unbreakable consistency. Let's dive in. To understand why we fail, let's look at a classic, real-world example. Let's talk about 2 people trying to learn a high-income skill, like video editing or coding. We'll call them Sarah and Mark. Sarah is highly ambitious. She buys a $200 masterclass. She decides she is going to study for exactly 3 hours every single day after work. For the first few days, Sarah crushes it, but she is relying purely on willpower. By week 2, she has a terrible day at her actual job. She comes home completely exhausted. The thought of sitting down for 3 intense hours makes her want to cry. So, she skips a day. Because her goal was so intense, skipping one day feels like a massive failure. The guilt sets in. She skips the next day. By week 3, she has completely abandoned the course. Now, let's look at Mark. Mark also wants to learn. But Mark sets a rule that feels almost embarrassingly easy. He is only allowed to study for 20 minutes a day. No more, no less. On his worst, most exhausting days, Mark can still manage 20 minutes. It requires 0 willpower. Fast forward 6 months. Sarah learned for about 20 hours total before burning out. Mark, doing just 20 minutes a day, has accumulated over 60 hours of learning. More importantly, Mark didn't just learn a skill. He rewired his identity. He became the type of person who shows up every day. This is a consistency paradox. By trying to do too much, we end up doing nothing at all. So why do we all act like Sarah? Why is it so hard to just do a little bit every day? It comes down to dopamine and our expectation of results. When we start something new, our brain gives us a massive spike of dopamine just for imagining the end result. We picture ourselves with a six-pack, or holding the successful business, or speaking the fluent language. But real progress doesn't happen instantly. This gap between what we expect and what actually happens is what psychologists call the valley of disappointment. When you go to the gym for a week and look in the mirror, nothing has changed. When you post videos on YouTube for a month, you still have 12 subscribers. Your brain looks at the lack of visual progress and says, this isn't working. Let's stop. The novelty wears off. The motivation dies. You have entered the boring zone. But consistency is like a stonecutter hitting a rock. It might take 100 strikes for the rock to split. It wasn't the 100th strike that broke it. It was the 99 strikes that came before it. Progress is happening underneath the surface, storing up potential energy. You just can't see it yet. If you quit in the boring zone, you reset all that stored energy back to 0. So, how do we fix this? How do we stop relying on 3 a.m. motivation and actually build unbreakable consistency? Here are 3 rules you can implement today. Rule number 1. Lower the barrier to entry. Stop optimizing for the finish line and start optimizing for the starting line. If your goal is to read more, your daily goal shouldn't be read 1 chapter. Your goal should be open the book. If your goal is to run, your daily goal is put on my running shoes and step outside. Make the required action so ridiculously small that you cannot make an excuse not to do it. Once you start, momentum takes over. The 2-day rule. Created by filmmaker Matt Davella, this rule is a lifesaver for perfectionists. The rule is simple. You are never allowed to skip 2 days in a row. Life happens. You will get sick. You will have to work late. You will miss a day at the gym or miss a day of writing. That is fine. 1 missed day is a statistical blip. But 2 missed days is the beginning of a new habit, the habit of quitting. If you mess up on Tuesday, Wednesday becomes the most important day of your life. Reclaim your identity immediately. Volume over perfection. Lack of consistency is usually just perfectionism in disguise. We don't want to publish a video because it's not perfect. We don't want to write because we don't feel inspired. Give yourself permission to make garbage. Commit to the volume. Write a terrible page of code. Go to the gym and have a terrible, weak workout. Post a video with bad lighting. A terrible workout is infinitely more valuable than a missed workout because a terrible workout kept the habit alive. In today's world, everyone is looking for the hack, the secret supplement, the perfect Notion template, the ultimate productivity app. But the truth is, the person who consistently does the boring basics will always be the person who is sporadically brilliant. You don't need more intensity. You don't need another burst of 3 a.m. motivation. You just need to show up tomorrow. And the day after that. I want you to leave a comment down below right now. What is one goal you have been overcomplicating? And what is a 10-minute, ridiculously easy version of it that you are going to commit to doing consistently starting today? If this video helped you, hit the subscribe button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and remember, don't miss twice. See you in the next one.